So we responded there at 3:45. When we arrived there, the staff of the munitions factory had already been extinguishing the subsequent fire. Currently, or at this stage, we have 8 persons that had sustained fatal injuries. And then all other persons are then accounted for. So we are just carrying out mopping up operations, and the factory itself, as well as vehicles, had sustained significant damage. So what we had was 4 persons that we initially found with fatal injuries, and then we located another 4 people, and we've now ascertained that only those 8 had sustained fatal injuries. So there's no further persons for us to search for. That's right. So they're all accounted for right now. So only 8 people have sustained fatal injuries.
8 people have been confirmed dead. They are still searching for 6 other people that are trapped inside the building. We see family members have started arriving outside the depot, emotional scenes, some confirming that their family members are working there and they've not heard from them.
It's believed to be 8 people, and the families of them are there, and they've been counseled, in the process of being counseled. Obviously they have explained the process about, while the scene where the accident happened, the tragedy happened, that is now being taken over by the investigators.
Bodies of those killed in a blast at Denel's Rheinmetall Munitions plant near Somerset West have not yet been retrieved. Management says at least 10 of its workers were in the building at the time.
It is not confirmed how many people are in there. We have not identified them, and this is why we are saying we cannot at this point in time say anything about a figure or about the fatalities.
Forensic team and various other agencies will now begin their work in earnest in trying to not only remove the rubble but also remove the bodies of those who were affected by the blast.
As well as the possible retrieval of bodies are due to have commenced shortly this afternoon while a media briefing was underway, of course, called by the company.
All of the forensic processes that need to be concluded before any definitive answers can be given to all of the questions that all of us have. The investigations themselves are being conducted by the South African Police Service, the Department of Labour, and an independent specialist appointed by the company with the prior approval of Denel, so that you have an independent view on what might have been the cause of the explosion.
Forensic pathology services in the Western Cape say that they've retrieved the remains of all the victims of Monday's explosion at the Rheinmetall Denel Munitions plant in Somerset West.
Initial indications are that 8 people died in the blast.
The Western Cape Pathology Services have confirmed that the remains of all those who have been killed in Monday's explosion at the Rheinmetall Denel Munitions plant near Somerset West have now been retrieved. A process of DNA matching is currently taking place in order to identify those that had lost their lives. The Pathology Services Professor Johan Rothmann says that this process is likely to be completed within the next week. He says the cooperation between the various agencies has added to the expediency of this matter.
Families had to wait for more than a week for DNA testing to be done before the victims were identified.
Family, friends and the community gathered in mourning to pay their respects to the bereaved. Messages of comfort to console the widows, mothers and children who have lost their loved ones. Explosion was likely caused by an ignition propellant known as gun cotton.
We have 8 men who lost their lives here, and the youngest was only 19 years old. The family members now will at least be able to lay their loved ones to rest after receiving the remains of their loved ones. So the investigation is ongoing, but the families will be able now in the next few days to bury their loved ones.
24-year-old Jamie Hadrix is among those who lost their lives. He's been described as a respectful and humble person.